Sometimes it feels like all you see on the news is just bad news and negativity.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming for sure.
But today we're diving into something that's going to be truly uplifting.
Sounds good.
It's a collection of stories called Heartbeat, Celebrating Human Connection.
Oh, wow.
We're going to be exploring 10 stories from X.
Okay.
All of these highlight some act of kindness, but we're not just here for those warm, fuzzy feelings.
Right.
We're going to go a bit deeper and explore how these simple acts kind of create these ripples of empathy,
Okay.
connection, and a sense of community.
All right.
But before we even start, I want you to think about a time when someone's kindness really just made your day.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about that moment that really resonated so deeply with you?
It's interesting. These stories are drawn from everyday life, but they really showcase just the power of human connection.
Yeah, and our very first story really dives into that idea of recognizing the people who might feel invisible.
Okay.
It's about John, a homeless man living in a very busy city. Imagine feeling lost in the crowd, like no one even sees you.
Right.
But one day, a stranger approaches John with a gift.
Oh, wow.
It's a warm coat, gloves, and a note.
The note itself is so striking. It said, "You are seen. You are valued."
Wow.
And, that's not about meeting his physical needs. It's about acknowledging John's humanity.
I know, just thinking about it gives me chills.
Right.
It's like that simple act of recognition restored part of his dignity.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, how often I might walk past someone and not really see them.
Yeah.
I remember this one time.
It's so easy to get caught up in our own lives and just not look around. But
Yeah.
that's what's so powerful about all of these stories. They
Mhm.
remind us that we have a shared humanity,
Right.
the importance of recognizing everyone's worth.
Absolutely. And speaking of recognizing worth, our next story really proves that even the youngest among us can make a huge difference.
Okay.
It's about a group of elementary school students
Mm.
who decided to organize a book drive.
Oh.
They called it the Children's Book Drive.
Okay.
And they collected over 500 books
Wow.
for kids in these underprivileged neighborhoods.
500 books. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Especially to see that level of empathy in children.
Right.
They weren't driven by any reward system.
No.
Nothing like that. Just this genuine desire to help.
I'm blown away by what they accomplished.
Yeah.
Imagine all the worlds that they opened up for those kids.
Oh, I know.
It reminds me of how powerful it can be to introduce kids to helping others early on.
Yeah.
It's like planting a seed
Yeah.
that grows into a lifetime of compassion.
Exactly. And it shows how contagious kindness can be.
Right.
It starts with one act and ripples outward.
And speaking of contagious kindness, let's look at a couple stories that demonstrate how everyday heroes can show up in unexpected places.
Right.
We have a man checking out at the grocery store.
Okay.
He notices the elderly woman in front of him is short on cash, and he steps up and covers the rest of her bill.
Wow.
He just says, "Merry Christmas," as he pays.
That's amazing.
Then we have Alex,
Okay.
who decides to offer free hugs in Grand Central Station.
Wow. So it's like kindness can bloom anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a specific setting or a grand stage or anything.
Yeah.
The holiday spirit in the first story
Yeah.
and Grand Central Station the second
Right.
shows how these simple acts can happen anywhere, anytime.
Mm.
It makes you think about all the small gestures that we can do each day.
Right.
Like, I try to make it a point to,
It's those small things that can really brighten someone's day
Right.
and build connections.
I completely agree. It's like we're weaving kindness into our everyday lives.
Yeah.
Speaking of creating something interconnected, our next story takes us to a vacant lot that goes through this really heartwarming transformation.
The community garden.
Yes.
A wonderful example of how shared spaces can foster a sense of belonging.
This group of residents took a neglected space and turned it into this thriving community garden.
Right.
They built raised beds. They shared gardening knowledge. They even started composting.
Wow.
And they did workshops on sustainable practices.
That's amazing.
It wasn't just about growing food.
Yeah.
It was about growing together.
And think about the ripple effect of that.
Right.
It's about access to fresh food education and the benefits of connecting with nature.
It really makes you appreciate how community spaces can bring people together.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a part of a community project that brought you closer to your neighbors?
Yeah, there's something special about working towards a goal
Right.
and seeing the positive impact.
It's like they say, many hands make light work.
Hmm.
And speaking of going above and beyond to connect with others, our next story features Sam.
Okay.
He's a barista who learned sign language.
This is a story about inclusivity.
Yeah.
Really going the extra mile.
He saw a deaf customer struggling to order.
Oh, wow.
Instead of just taking her order, he learned sign language so they could communicate.
That's incredible.
It's so much more than just a transaction.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing a barrier and breaking it down.
Right.
He created a space where she could feel like a valued member of the community.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think about the things we can do to make the world a more inclusive place for everybody.
Yeah.
What are some ways we can make sure everyone feels seen and heard?
It starts with being aware of the barriers and then stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Right, and sometimes those acts of kindness involve pushing ourselves to go beyond our personal goals to help others.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we see in our next story about Jake.
Okay.
He's a marathon runner who dedicated his run to a family who lost their home in a fire.
Oh, wow.
What I find inspiring is how he transformed a personal achievement into an opportunity for collective action. I know he could have just focused on his personal best,
Right.
but instead, he used the marathon as a way to raise money for that family.
And the community responded.
They did.
People joined him for parts of the run. They donated money and they spread the word.
That's amazing.
He didn't just run for himself. He ran for a family in need. Right. It resonated with people.
It's such a beautiful example of how we can use our skills for good.
It is.
It's like a reminder that we all have something to offer.
Right.
When we combine our efforts, we can make a real impact.
It's a testament to the power of community and the human spirit.
And sometimes those acts of kindness involve celebrating life even when facing adversity.
Absolutely. And our next two stories illustrate this.
Okay.
One is about a young patient
Mm-hmm.
spending her birthday in the hospital.
Right.
Her family couldn't be there.
Oh, no.
So the staff decided to throw her a surprise party.
That's so sweet.
It's a testament to human connection, wanting to bring joy to others.
They decorated, they baked a cake.
Yeah.
They even got other patients involved.
Wow.
It was a reminder that even when things are hard,
Yeah.
there's still room for joy.
And then we have a story about an anonymous scholarship fund.
Okay.
This is for students from war-torn countries.
This one really touched me. It's not just about the money. It's about offering hope.
And a chance for renewal.
Yeah.
It says so much about education and believing in these students.
It's like saying, even after all that hardship, you can still thrive.
Right.
It makes you think about how we can support those around us.
Sometimes the smallest acts can have the biggest impact.
Absolutely. Our final story takes us back to that coffee shop morning brew,
Okay.
where someone pays for the next person's coffee.
Oh, it's a pay it forward.
Yeah.
One person's kindness can ripple outward.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
It went beyond just the coffee.
Okay.
People were smiling, sharing stories.
All right.
It was about community.
It reminds us that we all have the power to start these chains of kindness.
Yeah.
Be that spark.
It makes you think about how we can pay it forward.
Yeah.
What can we do to brighten someone's day and inspire them to do the same?
It's about shifting our focus from ourselves to those around us, recognizing that we are all interconnected. It's inspiring to see how these small things can create such a strong sense of community.
You know, looking back at all these stories, what really gets me is just how emotionally resonant each act is.
Yeah.
It's not just about the act itself. It's how it makes both the giver and the receiver feel.
Right.
There's this sense of unity and empathy that just shines through.
Yeah, it's like these acts are tapping into our shared humanity, reminding us that even though the world can feel divided, we all want to connect with each other and support each other.
It's like these little pockets of warmth
Yeah.
that spread outwards.
Yeah.
Like when I see a random act of kindness, it's heartwarming.
Absolutely.
It makes you feel good.
It does.
Like there's still hope for humanity.
It really reinforces the idea that there's still good in the world.
Yeah.
And it inspires us to be more compassionate ourselves.
It's like a counterbalance to all the negative stuff you see every day.
Yeah.
It reminds you that there are people out there who care.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make the world a better place.
What's also interesting is how these stories show all the different ways that kindness can be shown.
Right.
It's not about how big or small the act is. It's the intention that matters.
So true. Like with John, it wasn't just about the physical things. It was the note.
Yeah.
You are seen.
You are valued.
That must have meant the world to him.
And those kids with the book drive,
Yeah.
they just wanted to share their love of reading. It was pure intention.
And even in the stories with some hardship, like Mia's birthday party at the hospital,
Yeah.
or the scholarship for students from countries where there's war.
It's incredible resilience.
Right.
And the power of community.
It makes you realize that we can all be kind,
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what your situation is.
it doesn't.
We all have the power to make someone's day or
Right.
just make the world a little bit better.
Kindness isn't a finite resource.
Mm-hmm.
The more you give, the more it seems to multiply.
It's like a ripple effect, inspiring others.
Pay it forward.
Maybe it's not just about the act itself, but about building a culture of kindness
Yeah.
where everyone is compassionate and empathetic.
It all starts with us, right?
Yeah.
We have to recognize our own capacity for kindness
Right.
and then express it every day.
So how do we cultivate kindness in our own lives?
Well, I think it starts with paying attention,
Okay.
being aware of the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes all it takes is a smile
Yeah.
or a kind word.
You're right. It's those little moments.
Yeah.
I get so caught up sometimes that I forget to acknowledge people.
We all do.
Yeah.
But the more we're present,
Mm.
the more opportunities we'll see.
It doesn't always have to be something big.
No.
Sometimes it's just being there for someone,
Mm-hmm.
listening,
Yeah.
helping with something small. It's weaving kindness into our daily lives.
Exactly.
Nothing fancy, just being genuine.
It's about shifting our perspective
Oh, okay.
from me to we.
Yeah.
We are all connected.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
We're all connected, and our actions matter.
Yeah, even the small ones.
So it's not just about being nice.
Yeah.
It's about making kindness the norm.
Absolutely. And these stories give us a guide.
Yeah.
They show all the ways we can express kindness, the impact it can have. It's not just an idea.
Right.
It's something we can actually do.
And the more we practice,
The more natural it becomes.
like working a muscle,
Yeah, exactly.
make it a habit.
Kindness should be a way of being. It's through that spirit of kindness that we can really make a difference.
It's like we're all taking care of this garden of human connection, you know?
Yeah,
We got to nurture it.
exactly. We can't wait for someone else to do it.
Right.
It's about realizing that we all have the power to create change.
No matter how small,
Yeah.
like that ripple effect, like dropping a pebble in a pond.
Yeah, those rings of water
That's what kindness can do,
spreading out,
impacting so many.
people we might not even meet.
It reminds us that we're all connected.
Well-
Everything we do matters.
It does.
And when we choose kindness, we're making the world better.
You know, looking back at all of these stories,
Mm-hmm.
I feel a sense of hope.
I know, me too.
There's so much negativity, but these acts of kindness
Yeah.
show that there's still good out there.
It's like that breath of fresh air, you know?
Yeah.
To remind us that people are resilient.
And that there's so much love and compassion.
It's been great exploring these stories with you.
I agree. It really has.
They've made me think so much about kindness and connection
Yeah.
and how we can all make a difference.
It's like they give us a glimpse of a better world.
Yeah, one where kindness is at the center.
Exactly.
Now we want to hear from you.
Yes.
What act of kindness will you do this week?
Right. How will you pay it forward?
Share your stories and inspire others.
Yeah.
Let's make kindness the norm.
Let's create a wave of kindness.
Remember, even the smallest act can change the world.